Welcome to Coast, where perspective is everything. It's me and Marwan here today, and we are going to talk about ghosting in 2023. How is it still a thing?
It's crazy, my boy.
I, for one, have been ghosted.
Same.
You've been ghosted.
Yeah, a couple times
Have
actually.
you ghosted?
Can't think of it off the top of my head, but I probably have, yeah.
I have ghosted, and I was a piece of shit for that. But we learn from our mistakes. Uh, for y'all that don't know, ghosting is basically when a person no longer wants to speak to a person and just goes completely MIA. No text messages, no phone calls. And in this episode, we're talking about ghosting from when you've been talking to someone for, a little more than a month, longer than a month, and then out of nowhere, they just fall off the planet of your world. Like they may still be on their social media, having fun, having a ball, but when you try to get into contact, blocked, muted, and we're talking about on a point of for absolutely no reason. Like everything was fine, and then boom, it's just
Zero dark 30.
and you get no closure, and it makes you feel very, very what is the word?
Just lost, vulnerable, confused, a lot of things.
Yeah. I saw a tweet actually today that kind of is the reason why I wanted to do this episode. It says, "Not gonna lie, ghosting is extremely clear communication." And it was funny to me because ghosting is no communication.
Right.
And I think what he was trying to say is basically like they're kind of telling you what you already know. They're just not that into you, but I feel like it's really fucked up to not let someone know that, hey, it's just not working out for me.
Yeah, I agree. I personally think that ghosting is like one of the most selfish things you could do. Just be honest, be straightforward. I think that some people don't have the ability to communicate that, and so they think the best way to do it is to just like pull away.
No, I 100% agree. I do think it's very selfish. I think, if the roles were reversed, if you were kind of feeling someone and thinking it's going a certain kind of way, and then for you to just completely fall off the face of my world, it's like, what do you expect that person to feel?
Yeah, exactly. Imagine the mental effects it has on a person when you just end up when they ghost you or like when you get ghosted.
Nah, bro, let's talk about that.
Yeah, let's do it.
Honestly, if I was to get, and I've been ghosted, and when it happened, I was really confused because everything was going well, but my mental during that time was, I just felt undervalued. I felt really disrespected, underappreciated, and I never had a feeling that low of like, wow, like this person really thought this less of you,
Right.
to where they wanted nothing to do with you and didn't care to explain. They're just going to continue living their life, and I'm just sitting here with my hands like, what just happened?
Right. It like leaves you like questioning yourself almost, like wondering why you're not good enough, what you did wrong. You almost like want that closure because you want to see how you can either improve for your next relationship or how you can improve for that person, as dumb as that may sound.
No, I agree. I think, when a lot of relationships end, especially when you don't want them to, you at least want to know what you did wrong or what you could have done better in order for your next relationship. But for a person to just completely disappear on you when you thought things were like going good enough to where you just didn't see it coming, it's
Right.
like, what am I supposed to do after that? Like, how do I recover
Right.
after
Exactly.
realizing, that I'm so less to you. You couldn't even let me know what your issue was.
Right. Sounds like you got a personal anecdote there, my boy.
What do you mean?
A little story you might want to tell the world.
Yeah. I'll share it with y'all. I was in college. Met this girl. We'll call her V. Me and V were like kicking it. Probably maybe like 3 weeks in is when I became ghosted. But basically, what happened is, she came out with me. Met my friends for the first time. Met a couple of her friends. We were having a good time. Like, it was all vibes. We were hanging almost like every day. I walked her to her car one night after it was over, and she was like, all right, yeah, like, I'll call you in the morning, da da da. She did not call me in the morning. I texted her around like noon. I was like, oh, hey, what's up? Like, what are we doing today? Because that's just how we were. Didn't get a response. It became like 2, 3 o'clock. I texted her again. I was like, are you good? Like, sleepyhead, you know what I'm saying?
Right.
No response. So I started to get kind of worried, so I go and check Instagram, no Instagram. Just like blocked me or something.
Damn.
Check Twitter, don't see her Twitter. So I call her, and then it goes straight to voicemail. So then I guess my number had gotten blocked. And, I thought about hitting up her friends, but I was just like, nah, like, let me just wait. Maybe she's having a long day, or I don't know. I didn't know what was happening. So I probably like a couple days later, I started to realize like, damn, like, I think I'm getting ghosted.
Right.
Which it was so random because I was like, this has never happened to me.
Yeah.
Like, no one has ever not told me why they no longer want to talk to me, And I've told you, I've never been broken up with. So it was just shocking to me because I thought it was smooth. 8 months later, this girl pops back up in my life, and she tells me that she had a lot going on with her ex and she didn't want to get me involved. And it really did fuck with me because that whole time, even though like we weren't talking, like I would always think about her, even when I'm talking to someone else, and it would kind of like fuck me up of like, oh, I hope this person doesn't do the same thing, because that shit hurts.
Yeah,
like
that shit is tough.
I felt so like, I don't want to say like emasculated, but in a way of like, I just feel like I wasn't good enough for this person when I thought I really was. But we ended up talking again, and part of me kind of like felt like I wanted to start talking to her just to prove to myself that it was okay, and like she just needed to take time for herself. Obviously it didn't work out. I just don't think I could ever get over the fact that she was a person that could just up and leave at any time. I didn't trust her anymore.
Right,
like, how can you trust someone that just ups and leaves like that?
Yeah.
No hard feelings, but definitely scarred the fuck out of me.
Yeah.
But yeah, what about you?
I got quite a few stories, my boy. I would say the toughest one would probably be the one where I thought, or I should say we acted like we were in a relationship for over a year. Talking about like dates, hanging out all the time, traveling, all that.
Dang, that's a long time.
Doing everything. I'm talking about like hitting each other up whenever we're free, whatever the case may be. And just out of nowhere one day, just no response, nothing. And then probably 2 to 3 days after that, she's posting with like a new guy.
What?
And then I just hit like one more text just to get, like you said, that closure. Because of course, like that's what we all want. And it kind of goes back on that like pullback, which is like gives you that like withdrawal almost.
Yeah.
Which is tough. But yeah, she just straight up all she said was, I'm talking to someone else.
And y'all were like basically in a relationship?
Pretty much, yeah. So like that definitely puts a toll on your mental for the longest time after.
But okay, so did she ghost you though? Because she did respond.
Eventually.
But But it was like days, and y'all would talk like every day.
Yeah.
And so those 3 days, how did you feel? Just
trying to figure out like what's going on. Like, what did I do wrong? Did I do something? Did I fuck up maybe somehow? Like out. So yeah, it does have a toll on your mental because again, you do start to question things like, what did I do wrong? Why am I not good enough? This new guy, all that. It kind of also put an effect on me where like for the longest time after, because I noticed a trend of these same type of girls in the cycle where they just want to just hang out, have fun, do cool shit for like a few months, then just drops off. I began to start thinking like I was more like not relationship material.
Like they didn't see you as that,
Right.
but you felt like you were.
I felt like I was the guy. I felt like I was the good time guy, not the long time guy.
Oof.
And for the longest time, I began to act that way. That's when I started to look for just
So
a good time.
you almost like accepted the role that they were giving you in a way,
Pretty much.
and it all started with her.
I would say so, yeah.
Damn, dude, that's fucking rough. I mean, but I feel like you've gotten out of that now, and you accepted like you deserve what you want. Like, don't let no one put you in a box of like, oh, this is what they all think of me. Like, this is what I'm gonna be then. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, you got to choose the right woman, basically.
Yeah, and the right woman to choose you.
Exactly.
No, I definitely get that. Damn, dude, that fucking sucks. Though I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, bro, that shit was tough.
But honestly, I don't really get like. I guess I have also been on the other side. I have ghosted before. But it wasn't in a case of like things were all going right. It was more like someone wasn't understanding that I just no longer wanted to continue the relationship.
Yeah.
And we would go back and forth a lot. And at one point I had to block this person's number, and then she found like another number to hit me from. And I always think communication is most important, but at some point you kind of just got to be like, enough's enough, and you got to stop feeding the fire.
Right.
So I did kind of ghost in a way, but I don't think it was ghosting in a way of how we're talking about today, where it's like everything's fine and then that person just dips off, you know, and so being with someone else like that's fucking grimy. But I think when people ghost in the way we're talking about, it really says a lot about how that person is. You know, like that is just a selfish ass person. How can you not think about the person that you've been with for a minute, y'all are vibing, and then you just up and leave them? Like, do you not even care that their whole mental and their whole, you know, outlook on relationships is ruined because you didn't have, you know, the respect for them to let them know like, hey, I'm not feeling this. You just started living your life without any care about that person. I think it's really messed up.
I agree. And a lot of people, honestly, like what I've noticed lately a lot is a lot of people say that they're like emotionally unavailable or they're not ready for certain things, but they're willing to do all of the stuff that consists of a relationship. So that type of thing is, I feel like, it's wrong now. That people kind of, they want the relationship side of things, but they don't want to be in a relationship. And that's where things kind of fall.
But I'm like, why not communicate that with them? Why just leave them high and dry and have them questioning what's wrong with them? Like the person ghosting, you have to know that you're literally just fucking with them, you know?
Right.
And if you don't know that, you're kind of like a scumbag, in my opinion, because how can you just leave a person high and dry, someone that's like been about you, cares about you, and you don't have the decency to let them know like, hey, I want to at least let them know like, hey, it's not working out. You don't even need to give them a reason of why. Just let them know like it's not working out, rather than leaving them confused for days. Like, what am I supposed to do? Especially when you see this person constantly texting you, you know, hitting up your friends like, hey, what's going on with such and such? Like they could just be checking on your wellness, making sure you're good.
Right,
you know?
right. Yeah, I mean, that also kind of like brings it all to like one big thing though, right? It's like you kind of said like, what does that say about the person, right? They're selfish, all these other qualities like you kind of mentioned earlier. But doesn't that kind of make you feel like you almost dodged a bullet in a sense?
What do you mean?
Like you dodged a bullet with that person ghosting you because it tells you everything about them. Do you want to be in a relationship with that type of person in the long term?
No, that's something really good to think about. I couldn't be with someone who is even capable of being so selfish and doing something like that. Like, why? And I guess you're right. It is dodging a bullet. Like, wow, this person ghosted me and didn't even have the audacity or, you know, the respect for me to tell me why it's not working out. They just kept living their lives. So I think if I was the person being ghosted, it's like, wow, you never cared about me in the first place. You know, you only cared about yourself. So I am glad that you did that because
Right.
it told me, I'm not the right person for you. And it's kind of like that tweet I was addressing earlier. If a person is ghosting you, then it is clearly saying like they are not into you,
Mhm.
and maybe they never were. Maybe something happened. I still think you're a piece of shit if you're ghosting someone, especially in such a mature age we are now, and it's just wrong.
Yeah, I mean, someone's so fleeting when you're doing everything so right. Imagine when you do one thing that's wrong.
Nah, I wouldn't be able to be with that person. So if someone had ghosted me and then they try to come back, it would just not work out for me because I would never be able to get over the fact that at one point you had the mindset of I'm focused on me and I'm not gonna let this person know what happened because of my own selfish reasons.
Right.
There's never gonna be a good enough reason for you to ghost someone and then try to come back with like, oh, uh I was dealing with stuff. It's so easy to talk to people in our generation, just send them a text,
Right.
send them a voice message,
Right.
like let a friend know like, hey, if you don't have the balls to tell them like, oh, it's not working out, you can tell one of their friends, like let them know it's just not the move for me.
Yeah.
But you'd rather be a selfish asshole and just completely go MIA. I don't rock with that at all.
Yeah, just don't come back when I'm at my best.
No, literally, don't come back when you see me doing well.
I mean, with all that said though, like, do you have any advice or like what have you done to like help you kind of get over it, being ghosted?
I think as I've gotten older and I've heard stories of ghosting, I think the way to get over ghosting is accept the fact you're not going to get the closure you want. That person is not going to tell you why it didn't work. They're too selfish and too, self driven on themselves to really communicate that with you. What I would do is I would text them one more time and just be like, hey, I don't really know what happened, but I hope everything is good. I thought we had something, but if you don't feel like that, then that's fine. Enjoy your life. And then that's it. Because if you continue to text them, you're just giving them that power over you and you're never going to get over it.
Agreed. Yeah. I'd say to piggyback off of that, my biggest thing would be as an advice to people is definitely focus on yourself, king or queen. Love yourself. I feel like if you focus on yourself, you do better for yourself. Put that energy and that effort for yourself to grow. You become the best version of yourself and you attract the best version for yourself.
Yeah.
I think that's the best thing you could possibly do because clearly you guys were not on the same frequency.
No, 100%. No, I agree with you, Juan. I definitely agree. The key thing here is if you're getting ghosted or feel like it, just remember to focus on yourself, love yourself. That person wasn't worthy of your time. There are 7 billion people out in this world.
Yep.
If one person's not feeling you, well, look, sucks for them. If they don't have, the respect for you to tell you what's going on, that's on them. Don't let it ruin your day. Don't let it ruin your next relationship. Life is very short. Even just spending a month with one person, you're taking a lot of your time if that relationship doesn't work out and you're still honed in on why it didn't work. Just know if they ghosted, it's on them. It's not on you. Here at Coast to Coast, we just want y'all to know that perspective is everything. Thank you.
Thank y'all. Love y'all.
All right.